Okay. So, we are on page 16, no? When they are inspecting, and the and the officer asks Andrews, "How long have you been in the army?" 1 week. "Don't you know you have to be clean and shaved and ready for inspection every Saturday morning at 9? "I was cleaning the barracks, sir." "To teach you not to answer back when an officer addresses you." No, the officer spaced his words carefully, lingering on them. As he spoke, he glanced out of the corner of his eye at his superior and noticed the major was frowning because he's being too strict. His tone changed ever so slightly. "If this ever occurs again, you may be sure that disciplinary action will be taken." Attention there, no? It's important to remember this episode because there will be other episodes with this same officer, yes? Well, at the other end of the
one who has just been promoted and who
yes,
wants to be
this officer
really strict,
who wants to enjoy his power. This is the situation. He enjoys.
Yes.
Well, at the other end of the barracks, a man had moved. Again, amid absolute silence, could be heard the clanking of the officer's heel as the inspection continued. Well, that's why this very small episode has to be remembered for later episodes, no? Well, then they are there with the Y man. The Y man, it's interesting, no? The words they use. The Y man is somebody who does practically nothing. And he's there to encourage soldiers, no? And so he's there, he stood with his arms stretched wide in front of the movie screen. The piano started jingling and the roomful of crowded soldiers roared out. And this is the song that they sang, no? "Hail, hail, the gang's all here. We are going to get the Kaiser. We are going to get the Kaiser. We are going to get the Kaiser now." So the function of this song, as the function of the Y man, is to make the soldiers enthusiastic about the war, no? The rafters rang with their deep voices. The Y man twisted his lean face into a facetious expression. Somebody tried to put one over on the Y man and sing, "What the hell do we care?" So you see, one soldier reacts and answers, "What the hell do we care?" "But you do care, don't you, buddy?" he shouted. There was a little rattle of laughter. "Now, once more," said the Y man again, "and lots of guts in the gate and lots of killing the Kaiser. Now, all together." So he's teaching them how to sing a song. But look at the song, no? The song is to make them be ready to kill Germans. Well, then the moving pictures began. We find John Andrews at the place. He looked furtively about him at the face of the Indiana boy beside him, intent on the screen, at the tanned faces and the close-cropped heads that rose above the mass of khaki-covered bodies about him. Here and there, a pair of eyes glinted in the white flickering light from the screen. Waves of laughter or of little exclamations passed over them. They were all so alike. You see, this is the way in which Andrews see the group. They like only one organ.
Like massification.
Exactly. They were all so alike. They seemed at moments to be but one organism. This was what he had sought when he had enlisted. And here you get the answer to your question.
Yes.
He said to himself, it was in this that he would take refuge from the horror of the world that had fallen upon him. He was sick of revolt, of thought, of carrying his individuality like a banner above the turmoil. So he had enlisted for a kind of personal conflict, yes, because he felt that he was different from the others, that he couldn't go on like that he was rebelling against reality. So he thought that by enlisting, he would be part of the mass. You see? This was
Yes.
much better, to let everything go, to stamp out his maddening desire for music, to humble himself into the mud of common slavery. He was
Wow.
still, you see, yes. He was still tingling with sudden anger from the officer's voice that morning. Sergeant, who is this man? So he had felt that aggression from the officer very, very deeply, no? The officer had stared in his face as a man might stare at a piece of furniture. At that moment, the boy from Indiana, Chris, ain't this some film? Crisfield turned to him with a smile that drove his anger away in a pleasant feeling of comradeship. Because Crisfield is a young man from the countryside. He's, very simple. And so he looked at the film and he said, what a good film. The part that's coming's fine. I seen it before out in Frisco, said the other on the side of Andrews. Guy, it makes you hate the Huns. And this is the objective of the film. To make the soldier hate the Huns. The Huns are the Germans. The man at the piano jingled elaborately in the intermission between the two parts of the movie. So in the middle, yes, a man played the music and the others sang. The Indiana boy leaned in front of John Andrews. Sorry?
Do you remember if at that time the movies were with sound?
Yes. No.
No.
They play music. They were mute, you said?
Okay.
No. Because when my mother and my father went to the movies, era cine mudo.
Yes.
And they play the piano to accompany the film's action.
Yes, you're right. I think that the films with the sounds were at the final part of the 20s.
At the end
27
of
or
the
something
20s.
like this. Yes.
Well, I don't remember because Charlie Chaplin had mute movies and then also the other ones, no? Or no?
Yes.
Yes, he did, yes.
But, well, movies and music, well, I'm going to tell you that when I was little, I went to a cinema in my neighborhood, the cinemas that were in all the neighborhoods in the past. And in the middle, between two films, there was somebody playing the piano.
Yes, un show. Yes, I remember that too. Yes, a show.
Yes, and you paid one ticket and you could watch two films, one after the other. No? That was...
okay.
Yes, 3 films I could see when I was a little girl. 3.
Bueno, imagine.
You were lucky.
No, you went to the cinema, you paid one ticket and you stayed there all the afternoon.
Yes.
And of course you ate something in the middle, chocolate or things like that. No? It was a different type of cinema.
In my neighborhood, there was a movie, El Cine Mitre, and it had like a kind of restaurant, a bar. And I remember my brother went there and he bought a sandwich.
Yes.
And yes.
Yes, the cinema I went to was El Gran Rivadavia, that now it is still open. Now they have music, they have a theater, they have plays, they have...
for concerts.
Concerts, sí. Because it is very big, it is very, very big. Well, things that happened in the past, long ago.
Yes.
Cinema is getting worse and worse with the time because everyone can have the movies in their homes.
At home, yes. So you don't go to the cinema so often. In the past, it
Mm.
was, interesting. You always went to the cinema, no? Well,
Yes.
I remember that Subiela, you know Subiela, the
Yes.
one from
Yeah.
Hombre Mirando al
al
Sudeste.
sudeste,
He
yes.
said that going to the movies, for him it was like going to a templo, like there.
Mm.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. It was like that, yes.
Mhm.
Well, so Fuseli says that the part that's coming is fine because he has already seen the film, no? The Indiana boy leaned in front of John Andrews, putting an arm round his shoulders and talked to the other man. You from Frisco? Yeah. That's goddamn funny. You are from the coast. This feller's from New York, and I'm from all Indiana, right in the middle. You see how precisely
Yes.
this is what John Dos Passos decided, to have one member of each section of the states. What company you in? I ain't yet. This feller and me is in casuals. So they haven't been assigned to a group yet. They are there. That's a hell of a place. Say, my name's Fuseli. Mine's Crisfield. Mine's Andrews. You see the different pronunciation, Malena, no?
Yes.
Men's and mine's. How soon take a fella to get out of this camp? Do you know? Some guy says 3 weeks and some says 6 months. Say, maybe you'll get into our company. They transferred a lot of men out the other day, and the corporal says they are going to give us rookies instead. God damn it, though, but want to get overseas. So the Indiana boy wants to go to Europe. He wants to know that, they are going to France, and he wants to know France. It's swell over there, said Fuseli. Everything's awful pretty like. Picturesque, they call it. And the people wear peasant costumes. Look at the image Fuseli had of Europe, no? People dressed in peasant costumes. I had an uncle who used to tell me about it. He came from near Torino. Where's that? I don't know. He's an Italian. No, it's very funny because, Fuseli and the Indiana...
Medio bruto Fuseli.
Claro, he's, Fuseli, Italian.
Yes.
Say, how long does it take to get overseas? A week or 2, said Andrews. The only one who has an idea is Andrews. The other two, they imagine they are going to Europe and they are going to meet a picturesque situation, and they are in the middle of a war. As long as that, so the movie had begun again, and so unfolding scenes of soldiers in spiked helmets marching into Belgian cities full of little milk carts drawn by dogs and old women in peasant costumes. Now, this is the film they are watching, imagine. There were hisses and catcalls when a German flag was seen. And this was the intention. And as the troops were pictured advancing, bayoneting the civilians in white Dutch pants, the old women with starched caps. Starched caps, las gorras ¿cómo es? Las gorras de tela, esas blancas, ¿sí?
Yes.
Almidonadas.
Almidonadas, yeah.
The soldiers packed into the stuffy YMCA hut shouted oaths at them. So imagine the situation. Now they have the enemy on the movie and they shouting at them. Andrews felt blind hatred, staring like something that had a life of its own in the young men about him. Blind hatred. This is what this movie was provoking in the soldiers. He was lost in it, carried away in it, as in a stampede of wild cattle. The terror of it was like ferocious hands clutching his throat. He glanced at the faces round him. They were all intent and flushed, glinting with sweat in the heat of the room. So you see, Andrews is different from the rest. He, in a way, becomes an individual watching this, maddening situation. As he was leaving the hut, pressed in a tight stream of soldiers moving towards the door, Andrews heard a man say, I never raped a woman in my life, but by God, I'm going to. I'd give a lot to rape some of those goddamn German women. Now, see how, I mean, the movie and all the situation inspired men to think something like this. I hate them too, came another voice. Men, women, children, and unborn children. They are either jackasses or full of the lust for power like their rulers are, to let themselves be governed by a bunch of warlords like that. So they are, of course, against the rulers of the German people, but they are including all the people. I'd like to capture a German officer and make him shine my boots and then shoot him dead, said Chris to Andrews. See no, it's impressive. As
Very violent sentiments.
very violent, yes. And Andrews says, you would, but I, the damn sight, rather shoot somebody else I know, went on Chris intensely. Don't stay far from here either, and I'll do it too, if he don't let off picking on me. Who's that? So, and Chris is angry, not only with the Germans, also at somebody else there. Who's that? That big squirt Anderson. This is the officer, Anderson. That big squirt Anderson, they made a file closer at drill yesterday. He seems to think that just because I'm littler than him, he can do anything he likes with me. So you see, this officer, Anderson, is also a character that we have to pay attention to. Andrews turned sharply and looked in his companion's face. Something in the gruffness of the boy's tone startled him. He was not accustomed to this. He had thought of himself as a passionate person, but never in his life had he wanted to kill a man. Do you really want to kill him? Not now, but he gets the hell started in me, the way he teases me. I pulled my knife on him yesterday. See what he did. He pulled his knife on him. You wasn't there. Didn't you notice I looked sort of upset at drill? Yes, but how old are you, Chris? I'm 20. You are older than me, ain't you? I'm 22. So you see, Vanessa, how we get information about the characters little by little. We know Fuseli is 19, Chris is 20, and Andrews 22. They were leaning